and you go.
Howdy, 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 everybody. Yep, that's right. You couldn't get rid of me. The Sid's still here doing commentary, but since we're running a little bit behind, let's get right into this real quick. I'm going to give the 5-second countdown, and we're going to start 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Oops. Good luck, good luck. So I think I've successfully bullied Tempest into doing 0 here, so we have a little bit of a hybrid race. This will be kind of interesting to showcase. But let our other commentator get a chance to speak before I take total control.
Yeah, hi everybody, my name is Flannels, but just call me Flan. And I am also an X4 runner from a very long time ago. But yeah, it's nice to be here. Let's see how this race will turn out.
Yeah, it's actually, there was supposed to be 4 initially, and I was like, okay, what categories are we going to see? Which X or 0? And Tempest just told me yes, and I'm like, okay. That'll be interesting to commentate. There's definitely a bit of a dynamic shift between the two characters. A lot of people tend to choose one or the other. X is a bit more of the standard Mega Man X formula. 0 is more of a, I wonder what iframes are. I think I'll ignore them. So he can melt bosses, which we will see shortly enough. But most of the stages will play similar. They do have a slightly different order because of weapons, if I remember correctly.
That is 100% I see there, which means we're going to be collecting everything, so that's interesting. Though the funny thing with 0 is that because he doesn't really get like armor upgrades, and a lot of his weapons are just useful. Let's just put it that way. He has more of a leeway when choosing a route. You can pretty much do the game in whatever order you want with 0, but with X, you're gonna see 2 of the runners here with X they'll be doing a very strict route, just because of how the collectibles are arranged.
A lot of the X games, unfortunately, have that. Well, if you want to get everything in the optimal way, you need to have this, then, that,
Best
then,
intro
this
boss.
thing.
The best intro boss of Regya. Big RNG, but that don't see that we're having a good time here with the Regya. Normally, you would do a manipulation by dashing off a rising platform in the middle of the stage, and by not taking a hit, you would guarantee that the Regya wouldn't like fly off.
Oh, cool! You can actually manipulate the cycles now. Nice.
You could have from like a long time ago. I think since the Legacy Collection came out.
Oh, it was just one of those like a lot of people weren't able to execute it, or I probably just wasn't aware of it. Honestly,
You were probably not aware because it's a fact you just dash off one of the rising platforms and you don't take a hit. And you should be good on the RNG. He should not fly off. He could fly towards you, but that sometimes happens. You should still be able to save it without him flying off in like one cycle.
Interesting. Yeah, the big manipulation I remember showing up was the X5 Enigma manip. That was really funny. Infamous. That's infamous for a different reason.
So we're going to see all our runners choose Magma Dragoon first. Magma Dragoon is mainly for X. He unlocks like a lot of upgrades and will free up the Wrath Food so that we only have to do one revisit. The thing with X 400% is that we have to revisit a stage at least once.
No matter which order we take, we can't optimize just one trip, unfortunately.
And that's the advantage that 0 gets, because he doesn't need to revisit any stage. You can get everything in one go, and that's probably why some people also choose 0, because you can just do everything in one cycle.
Yeah,
and it's also just fun to play.
0 gets like a massive DPS privilege, honestly. We'll see it when we get to Magma, but the other thing too is like each one of the bosses gives him a special move, which will optimize his movement. So some of the things that X can't pick up until he comes back because he needs a Buster upgrade or an air dash, 0 can get to much more conveniently, for better or worse.
I can try.
Get the little mech here just because we can. Ooh, nice.
you'll
Yeah,
see
I
that
think
our main movement you'll see that our main movement here is what we call bunny hopping. Unlike the previous games that came out on the SNES, as dashing and jumping isn't really all that optimal because there's a little startup of what is it, 6, 7
little
frames
animation. Yeah, I
on a
think it's
dash.
like 7 frames.
Yeah,
Whenever you start a dash, X goes through a small animation before he actually starts the dash. So if you dash jump, you just get the speed immediately. It's a bit goofy compared to the other ones, but it's not something that it's not too impossible to learn. The big thing is like remembering how hard or high of a jump to take. And you'll see like X is having a little bit of a harder time dealing damage here, but Zero can do what's called an SDC. There's a couple of different ways to cancel these saber slashes with Zero. Um, but since we're a little bit low on HP, we actually use the mech here. It's a little bit slower, but definitely safer. But a lot of Mega Man's weapons will always cause like iframes, but because of the weird way the sabers are actually coded, the first slash doesn't actually cause those iframes to trigger. So if you can dash over and over again to cancel it and reinitiate that first slash, you can do the minimal amount of damage, but you can do it over and over again near instantaneously. It is a bit of a skill check though, because if your SDCs aren't clean enough, you'll eventually drift forward into the boss and headbutt them, which will knock you out of that loop.
Yep. And the X runners are going. Well, Stahl is going over here into our next stage, which is Spider.
Yep.
Spider. And then
Tempest gets the Zero privilege, so he just goes to Cyber Peacock. We want to pick up the boots here, which is part of the reason why we go to Spider second. And then Spider's special items that are hidden in this stage require the Rising Fire, so it just works out that way. But we get an air dash, but we're still going to be power hopping. I think they also have float too, if I remember right. That's the big change in X4.
Yeah, the foot parts in X4 give you an air dash, and you can hover for a little bit.
It is always cool to see the upgrades in each version.
Yeah, the hover in a speedrun can get in the way if your inputs get messed up and it press a jump.
Oh yeah.
In midair, so long as you're not in a dash state, you end up hovering and you just mess up all your...
Drop like a rock, yeah, because you just wasted your dash, and you're like, no! So like the logs on that, the waterfall there actually can kill people very easily if you're not super mindful about the hover. The hover is nice in very specific niche scenarios, but there's a lot of places where it's a beginner trap, unfortunately, because it wasn't fully designed, I think, for the whole game. A lot of the X games struggle with that, where they're implementing new design features, and unfortunately it makes some things harder while it makes other things easier.
Yeah, the hover will be more useful against the final boss, hopefully. Yep. Should he give us a good pattern for the runners.
Cross my heart, hope to die. So we get to grab the health upgrade here too, and then this will let us take a more optimal path to the boss as well. So we burn this real quick instead of going all the way up and around.
Yeah, you needed the fire to burn those logs and reveal the heart and the path. Yep.
Unlike X3, this game is not as filthy with upgrades, so there's like 1, maybe 2 per stage instead of like 3. It's a nice change where you don't have to worry about it everywhere.
It also helps that the stages in this game have been broken down in like 2 sections, and if you and once you do switch sections, your health and ammo gets completely refilled. So X4 is very much a very beginner-friendly X game, I'd say.
Yeah, it definitely, like, there's a lot of cool stuff you can even do in this game. Under certain circumstances, if you like actually use the cheat code for the Nova armor, there is a way to one-shot Spider here on your first visit. Because any of the upgrades, if you actually input a secret code, will give you a Nova armor that does infinite Novas.
It's the ultimate armor.
Yeah, the ultimate armor. But it's since it's a password thing, it's I think it's a category. Yeah, an category extension. It is a fun one though.
It's very fun. Stahl just took out Spider. It was a pretty easy boss. Just keep charge shotting on him. While Tempest is taking out Cyber Peacock, which is weak to Dragoon's technique for Zero, which
Yep.
is funny because Zero doesn't get like the bosses don't all give offensive moves. Some of them just give mobility, like Jet Stingray would just give him an air dash. So a lot of the bosses
Yeah.
just have the same weaknesses.
Yeah, it messes with the boss order too, because like you have to use what is it for Cyber Peacock?
Soul Body.
Yeah, Soul Body.
The mushroom
It's
weapon.
such a weird one, yeah. But the weakness order is a lot easier because you have those double dips.
Mm.
But
And
yeah,
Stahl in the lead going into the third stage for X 100%, which is Owl. Here we'll probably see some mech movement. The mech here is different in that it shoots projectiles instead of having like a beam sword thing on its arm.
This mech can be a bit unwieldy because if you charge the Buster, you're actually not allowed to move the mech anymore. It actually stands still. So you have to buffer your like dashes and dash jumps in the right way so that you can keep the mech moving while charging, because obviously this murders everything in its path. And ideally, you don't want to lose the mech because you can just phase tank through everything here rather than having to worry about iframes. Makes this whole stage a lot easier to deal with. Plus, you get a quick warp here if you enter the that area with the mech because you're much closer to the top of the screen. For those of the that were still watching the X8 run and are watching this as well, this is what I was referring to earlier with the owl issue. There's actually a Buster upgrade in this vertical hallway where there's just spikes everywhere. So we need to move in a very particular way to make sure that we don't face tank the spikes. If you push the web too deep, you get hit by the spikes. If you place it too low, you can't clear the jump. If you place it too far out, you jump into the spikes on the right side. It's very frustrating to learn.
Full health.
It is pretty rough. I'll say that. And
Yeah.
Stahl and
GG.
in the speed run. Oh no, Tempest fell in the hole.
Oof.
No, that was intentional.
I think it's a reset here for the mini boss skip. Actually, Zero can't do it now that I'm thinking about it. That's wrong. X
Zero
is the only
cannot do
one.
the mini
Yeah.
boss skip. Yeah, Tempest here is in the split mushroom stage, which has this mini boss. With X, we'll probably see from Stahl and Victory the mini boss skip, which only X can do because, yeah.
Nova armor
X is gonna
privilege,
get
yeah.
While Stahl is taking on Storm Owl, which is
so
an RNG
unfortunate.
mess.
There we go.
If you want to go fast.
Yeah, this boss is so frustrating. So one of the things you may have noticed is that we're using green shots. The lemon shots were patched in like X3, so when you dash and shoot a yellow shot, it only did
We're
one
not
damage
using
to
green
bosses.
shot. We're using the stock
Oh,
charge shot.
now that
which
we
is
have the
our-
stock, yeah,
we have the stock charge because this game has two arm upgrades for X. One that has one big plasma charge shot, and one that goes for a stock charge shot, which allows you to stock 4 charge shots if you want.
Yeah. Yeah, so what I was saying is initially you don't use lemons, you use green charges before we get the upgrade here. You have a choice of 2 upgrades, and there was a bit, early on, there was a bit of like, which is better. There's actually an upgrade further in that hallway if you jump over that first capsule. And what it'll do is it actually creates a plasma orb that just does damage over time while it hits the enemies. Unfortunately, it's just not very efficient in a lot of places. It's good for some things, but it's not good for everything. The stock charge shot's super nice because you can stock multiple buster shots. The only weird quirk about it is which shot you're stalking depends on like how long the charge actually takes. So it's much easier to charge the first, second, and third shot than it is the fourth, because it takes just a little bit longer. So it's one of those like routing things you have to be careful of. And just like X8, this also has a boss weapon button as well. So we're going to be using the web here to be getting access to a lot of the hidden items throughout the stage. And we're going to be getting one of the most useless ones very shortly here.
And we're gonna be getting the EX tank, which
A prized gumball dispenser.
when you get, what it does is when you game over, you start with 4 lives instead of 2.
Yeah. So
Yay.
it gives you an extra 2 lives. For a casual player, it's a very nice thing. Maybe you come back to it, you get some extra lives, so you have some more time to mess with the game. Because honestly, a lot of these things are pretty tough if you don't know the exact weaknesses or ways to interact with some of these. Like, this guy right here can be super obnoxious, but if you know when... Yeah.
Very clean. That mini boss right there called Izard. I just call him the Ice Claw.
Yeah.
That thing is the worst in this game. You just have... Well, I said Owl was an RNG fest. That thing is the RNG hell.
Yep. If you don't have Flame there, it's an absolute nightmare. And even then, depending on how it bobs and weaves, will determine whether you can one-shot it with Flame or not. Which you can do. It's just luck-based, unfortunately, yeah?
He got the best RNG in which where he hit him with a charged fire.
2-cycle.
He stayed open. That, which sometimes doesn't happen. He can just... When you hit him,
close up.
He can stay open or close up, and when he's closed, he's invincible, and that's slow. So we don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, we might see it on Victory's side, because we got to go through that guy 2 more times, unfortunately. And he's not a very fun mini-boss. You could also go up over this area, but because we want the heart tank, we always go bottom route first. You do get some nice HP from the top area, but because we need the heart tank, going that way is pretty much required. The thing is that getting
locked by fire, so that's another reason why we needed Dragoon first.
It's basically X's route is hard coded, and like you can make a couple of changes, but this ends up being the best because you get the stock charge early. And specifically, we want ice for an upcoming mini boss here. I guess if you want to call it that. I guess mid-game boss. Yeah, that's probably the better way to put it.
It's an intermission boss. Because he Stahl just beat the 4th boss, which in our case for X is Frost Walrus. And the reason we gone for Walrus is because X, when you beat 4 bosses, the Colonel that you saw in the intro after the intro boss, he's an actual boss fight with X, where Zero, all Zero gets is an anime cutscene.
Nice cutscene. Yeah, it's like I said, there's some X privilege, there's some Zero privilege. Unfortunately, the Stingray stage is pretty much the same across the board. You just need to make sure that you don't fall in the pits and you get from side to side. For 100%, the big issue here is making sure you take the proper path to get the sub-tank and the HP upgrade in here. So it's one of those stages that can cause you to reset because it's a huge time loss to have to go back, unfortunately. It can be a bit frustrating to newer runners. I know it annoyed me endlessly.
And I swear that bike eats up your input like crazy.
Oh, dude, I think it's...
No, I'm not
might be the... Yeah, no, I agree. I think the lag in here like attributes to the bike like just kind of chewing on inputs. Mega Man X is a bit notorious for that. Nice quick kill, though.
Nice fight on...
I looked away and then I looked back and Colonel was dead. That was optimal.
What happened there is that Colonel, when he dashes towards the screen, his iframes get a bit bugged. So when he's dashing, you can hit him, but his iframes don't start first. His iframes start, but they go away.
Yeah.
So you can get like a double hit on the charge. Which deals massive damage.
Yeah,
really cool.
For like a lot of the games in general, the math is like you hit them with an uncharged weakness, it's 3, and then a charged is 5. And like you're racing to the magic number of 32. It's a bit different in the PlayStation games, but more or less the same theory. You know, if you can get like 10 free damage because the boss's iframes bug out, then do it. And that wasn't a request, that's a command. Unfortunately, Sting... go ahead. What were you saying?
Tempest is dealing with Stingray, while Stahl is going through the Stingray stage right now. Almost got back walled there by the ceiling.
Uh-oh. Well, this is going to be fun. Stingray can go down pretty quick if he decides to dive with Zero, but the problem is he will suck Zero in, and with this amount of HP, we're just going to absolutely get melted. So we're going to have to do this in a little bit less than optimal manner, unfortunately.
Tempest has to be a bit careful here so it's not
die.
Oh, no. I was going to say, I don't want to hear it. Oh, no. That's unfortunate.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, he can do those. The big problem is, like, the fastest, if you're like, watching PBs, you're going to always see Stingray just drop down and get absolutely melted, but it's straight RNG, so you really are just hoping he decides to come underwater with you so you can just chew through his HP with SDC. It's a little bit nicer with X because we can force him down, or reliably hit him with Ice, even if he decides to not drop.
Well, Ice is slow because if you hit him with Ice, he's gonna be he has a very long recovery animation. So for Stingray with the X, we just deal with him with charge shots.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I used Ice because I was stubborn and I hated this guy. My bad.
you can use Ice as the final head very reliably, but for the fight itself, you stick with charge shots to deal consistent damage.
The stock shot is just so good. It charges so fast, like, and it pretty much doubles your DPS. Yeah, a little bit of Ice there.
Yeah, like that.
To soothe my wounds. And over here with Victory, we've got like a very normal looking Colonel fight. This is basically what you're looking at. The cool thing is, once we get the helmet upgrade, it'll actually allow us to use, I think it's base weapons without consuming weapon energy. So we'll be able to spam weapon attacks a lot faster, or boss weapons a lot more aggressively.
Cutscene done.
Yeah. Okay. And then there's that Zero privilege catching up.
Cutscene.
So we got 3 Mavs versus 4 and 4. Pretty decent.
Brawl has a pretty big lead here.
Yeah. Very, very solid X run I'm watching so far. I've been to the point where it's like he just absolutely melted Colonel before I even noticed Colonel was on screen.
when Colonel decides to behave and you of course do the strategy correctly, he goes down really quickly. It's very satisfying to get.
Yeah, for better or worse, that's one of the endearing parts of Mega Man X runs. There are some levels of RNG, and like you have to learn to either cope with them or overcome the bad RNG and wait till it's finally your time. But it does lead to the run being something you can grind for quite a long time, as long as it doesn't chew through what little sanity you have. This is one of the places where the plasma ball is extremely good, actually, for this mini boss. Though the runners have such come up with a much better way to deal with this. If you look at really old runs, they'll use the plasma shot over stock. Stock's DPS is just way better on bosses, so unfortunately, it's just a no-go. It's fun casually. Unfortunate.
Almost fell there, but okay. Go recovery. Go recovery.
Ideally,
you would just rush towards the spikes and release a charge fire, and that would probably kill. I think that kills the top one, and then you just buster the remaining spots of the mini boss, and he goes down pretty quickly. Not bad.
Honestly, it's kind of hard to tell because there's a lot of things that Zero has to respect that X just melts, and I forget which things he straight melts, or things that he gets very close to melting. Because like Zero, I think has to like flame uppercut multiple times.
Yeah, with X, the main difference here with X is that his charge shot allows him to clear the enemies much more efficiently than Zero, because Zero has to deal with Zero has the saber and
short range. Yeah.
Something that you may notice with Zero is that some of his hits cause a lot of lag.
Yeah, because a lot of his stuff multi-hits. Yeah.
And with X, he doesn't really have that issue. With a well-placed charge shot, a lot of the enemies just disappear. And you see that his stages just flow a lot better. Where Zero, the thing with Zero is that he has a much easier time with bosses, provided you get good RNG and is good with the sword dash canceling SDC to melt their health bars.
Yeah, luckily this doesn't have the saber downgrade that like 4, 5, and 6 get, so we don't have to worry about STC getting like deleted. So there's
well, you can still SDC in.
Yeah, but you have to like SCC or some nonsense. I think it's kind of
no,
weird.
You can SDC normally.
I think like it's what is it? It's the black armor in 6 that breaks it, and the black armor in 5 if you're doing 100%.
No,
like normally, it should. The saber upgrade from Black, I think, screws with his hitboxes. Huh.
I don't
Maybe
remember that being the case.
I might be wrong. I could have. Well, wouldn't be the first time. The black armor, from what I understand, like upgrades the damage, but it like changes it so that the first slash always gives it invincibility. But if you proceed through the rest of the slash, you get like 1/1/1. It's super weird. But you have to be doing 100% on X5, which you can just Enigma your way through. And like in all stages, it's not 100%, so you don't pick it up. And then X6, you have to go out of your way to get the black armor, so it's something you almost like never run into. Those games have some weird interactions with Zero. Just in general.
Input the code, and then you unlock Zero, and then you have...
Yeah, that's the code one, you're right.
So now we're going to see Stahl here coming back to Magma Dragoon, which is the stage that we gotta revisit.
Yeah, we
for X 100%.
Gotta grab our upgrade here, because we have to actually break through a wall with the Slash Beast weapon.
And I think he also missed the heart, so that we leave the heart to be collected on the revisit as well, because it's just up in this ledge, but it's a lot faster to just use charge fire right there.
You could do the same thing Zero did if you really want the heart early, but it's a little bit slower because it's usually harder to hit that consistently.
Oh, he missed the jump.
I'm so happy that there's not lava down there, because I almost forgot. I was like, is there lava down there? Yeah, we're gonna use charge slash here.
You need charge slash, specifically charge slash to destroy them, or the right armor down there. If you could somehow get the right armor to this ledge over here, you wouldn't need to come back to the stage, but unfortunately, the way to do that is pretty slow. There is a way to get the right armor, but it involves a glitch by like displacing the armor position with the web and making it climb up.
Yeah, I remember early on trying to convince people to do like an any % route, but it ended up not sticking, from what I recall, unless it's been revived in modern times, where we just don't bother with 100%. But this game was a really weird one, where it just like 100% was the de facto way to run it, so just everybody ran it that way. Mega Man X's like speedrun history is kind of
you
weird.
almost dashed into the spikes. Almost gave me a heart attack, man.
Just checking to see if they work. Don't worry about it. Nope, hitboxes are still bad.
Hitboxes still bad. So something that we didn't mention when Tempest beat Mushroom, he got this rolling aerial slash attack, but he not only gets a rolling slash, but he also gets a double jump.
Yeah, the rolling slash is kind of goofy too, because if you like turn Zero the opposite direction, you can like alternate the hitboxes for extra damage. There's so much goofy stuff in this game. It's
yeah, reversals. Reversals are cool, man. What are you talking about?
It's one of those things that casually you definitely wouldn't notice, but it's a really cool tech that like brings Zero to a higher tier, so that you're in a much.
And nice. Yeah, nice. Go for it. Yeah, okay. Okay, so Stahl got the mini boss skip. What happened? He climbed up on the upwards on the screen, so the X is off screen on the ceiling, and he did a Nova Strike, which is the super move you get with the body parts. The body upgrade doubles your defense and gives you a one-time super move called the Nova Strike, which is an invisible dash.
Pretty much, it's an invincible air dash.
By going off screen and doing a Nova Strike, you can glitch the camera for that mini boss so that the camera doesn't like lock you up there.
Yeah.
And you can just walk past him and into the next part of the stage, which is the benefit of playing X 100%.
Yeah, because the upgraded or charged fire uppercut puts you high enough off screen, and then the Nova has some particular property that lets it air dash far enough versus a regular air dash that you clip over the camera trigger, but you hit the boss spawn, which you have to. Then you just go, well, see you later, buddy. So each one of the categories has some very interesting stuff to it, for sure. But as you can tell, like Zero is by no means a free real estate. One of the things with this elevator here that we haven't super paid attention to is most of the walls are unclimbable, except for this last little segment here. We're actually doing the movement pre-boss a little bit blind here to get in a more optimal position. As weird as it seems, that's the better place to be. Because he spawns right here, so we don't have to worry about going across screen to hit him. Because the spider web will only go so far. Annoying. There we go. But yeah, we just want to loop him with the spider web here, because Mushroom is just really annoying. Luckily, we can hit him when he drops, because it resets iframes. Easy peasy.
Just like that. I think he missed one, though.
Yeah, I think he missed the first
Yeah,
one.
I missed one.
Well,
It's okay. Well, that was a Nova Strike.
I did not expect to see it that soon, but hey, what are you going to do?
Victory, what happened?
I think we dropped the Nova Strike, or didn't have it.
He
We
doesn't
definitely-
have the Nova Strike.
Oh,
Victory,
no
what are you
body,
doing?
wrong order. Well, I guess we're doing
Wrong
this guy
order,
normally. Just,
Well.
yep. See, this is the reason that, like, the route is so important. A lot of the X games, unfortunately, get hard locked into a boss route, and there's unfortunately no room for innovation, which is kind of sad. Luckily, the charged buster here will do a decent amount of damage. It could be much worse, for sure. As long as we have enough, I think we have enough platforms to not have to, like, interact with this boss in any significant way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's fine.
It's been a while since I've
mentioned the generosity of the sub tanks.
Oh yeah, the sub tanks in this are pretty nice for sure. As one of the big changes is going from 4 to 2 in X4 and beyond. And in the SNES version, if your sub tank wasn't fully filled, you got just about nothing out of it. And with some of these sub tanks in the modern, or I guess more modern PlayStation 2 era, actually fill proportionally rather than based on whether the sub tank is full or not. This one's also very nice with Soul Body.
And another thing they added for the sub tanks on the PS1 games is they refill even if your health isn't full. Unlike the SNES games where your health has to be full to fill the sub tanks. Now here, every time you pick up a health thingy, it'll refill your health and will put a little bit of it in a sub tank. So you always have some amount of it at your disposal. Very generous.
As a classic runner, I'm gonna co-sign that because that is toxic that they do that in the SNES version, because it's a heavy skill check, and the implementation of the sub tank should be there for players that are having difficulty with the game, and making it that you have to fill it when your HP is full just punishes casual players more than experienced players, which is a kind of a very frustrating design choice. So Victory is going to take the normal movement here. Doing that movement blind is actually a little bit more difficult than it would seem. This is how you're intended to get into Mushroom Stage, or Boss Arena, rather. It's one of the few places you can do like a quote-unquote skip. There's only a handful in this run. Most of them being in Mushroom Stage, actually.
Yeah. And Stahl still maintained a really good lead. He has collected everything, it seems. All the hearts, all the armor pieces. I'm pretty sure he collected all the sub things as well. So he's in pretty prime position to go to final stages, it seems. Just gotta take on Cyber Peacock.
Yeah, Cyber Peacock's a kind of annoying boss with X. It's like, well, are you gonna work with me or not?
That's
Luckily,
most of the bosses, really.
Yeah. Luckily, we finally have the helmet upgrade from doing those mini games at full speed. So, like I mentioned earlier, we get free damage.
Ooh,
we get free uncharged boss weapons. Nice. Yeah, this attack is Kino. It's you're gonna get the most damage out of it. Unfortunately, his weakness caused him to teleport, so it's much like Magma Centipede. We don't want to use it if we can avoid it.
Well, we have to use it so long as he's still teleporting on the floor. You can stand on like a certain position, and when he does a certain attack, where he gives just enough time for you to hit a charge shot and his weakness, but most of the time you want him to float on the air there, so you can just blast him with the charge shot.
Use all the shots, yeah. That's the one really cool thing about Mega Man X games in general, is optimizing that damage output so that you mix match between regular buster shots and boss weapons to maximize damage and minimize iframes. It's a really cool thing that you end up doing the more familiar you get with it.
Stahl going to the final stages, Spaceport. Really fun stage. It's pretty short, but it has some really cool movement when you know what you're doing.
So we got the Claw here, which is one of those more annoying bosses that we were talking about earlier. Yep.
And yep, that's
what baby.
That's what we can do.
Ooh,
okay. But he got. All right, that was a great recovery.
Yeah. So when he clenches up like that, he won't open up till he gets to one side of the screen. So Tempest moving over there closer to force him into the right side of the screen was really nice call for sure.
Fantastic recovery from Tempest. That's all right. So now Victory is coming to claim the the body armor.
And you know, revisits are just that. It can be a bit tricky. I'm not gonna say that I've forgotten it. I haven't forgotten it before either. There's been many 100% runs I've thrown to forgetting the collectibles. I'm like, why did I save a minute? And then I look at my splits and I go, oh, oops.
Whoops.
Luckily, it's not. Go ahead.
I don't think I have forgotten the collectible. I think I might have either selected the wrong stage sometime.
Yeah. I think the main one is games with revisits. Sometimes you just straight up forget to revisit the thing, especially if it's not like right before the final boss stage. It's like X3 is a brutal one because they have like your armor, they have the chip upgrades, they have the robots and all this stuff. So like if you forget to get all your upgrades before you go into Doppler 1, you miss out on the mega chip armor. So it's like a lost run. There's no like, oops, I'll go back and get it type thing, unfortunately. Luckily with this game.
And that's why I run X2. You don't have to do revisits in that game.
Yeah, you can always do the meme category of no Shoryuken and make it like multiplicatively harder than it needs to be.
Shoryuken's not enough.
Yeah, sometimes. I was notoriously bad with the Shoryuken, so I actually like memed a Shoryuken-less route until one of the taskers like actually realized it was faster in task setting. It was a funny time with Hetfield. He's like, wait a minute, this is actually faster. You idiot savant. I'm like, ooh, neat.
And Stahl is going to take on Double here. The second boss of the final stage. The first boss of the final stage was Colonel. Stronger Colonel than the mid-stage. And, oh, that was a close one.
Yeah, even with, like, your armor and stuff, Double here puts out a lot of damage. And even spamming his weakness with these storm orbs can sometimes result in a very close fight, depending on what pattern you get.
Yeah,
one of the more...
Go ahead. The thing with Double is that if you hit him with his weakness, he's going to be spawning some drones that can, like, fly around or shoot projectiles. And the more you shoot, and if you keep shooting him, they'll keep spawning. But the fastest thing to do against Double is to keep spamming his weakness against them. So sometimes it comes down to the wire.
Yeah.
Deaths have occurred against Double.
It's definitely one of those like high risk, high reward type things because it does save a lot of time, but it can kill your run, which is the unfortunate part. That is, Mega Man X games tend to have that weird tendency. Though, if you've gotten enough HP upgrades, you could probably grab a little bit of HP out of your sub-tank since you don't get punished for not being full when you grab drops. You probably can force through it.
The final stages in X4 are interesting because they're really, really short.
Yeah.
And especially the second final stage here, which the first half is literally just 30 seconds of walk-in enemies and you fight Double, and then this one, the second part is a bit longer. You choose between two paths. We go through the bottom path, which is faster, and it's over in like 40 seconds or something like that. It's really weird.
One of the cool things that we haven't really noted either is that with X here, you'll notice that there's a number right next to the boss weapon. That'll indicate how many you can shoot. But because we have the helmet upgrade, we don't have to pay for uncharged shots now. But when you charge, it'll tell you how many shots you'll get of it charged as well. So that while it did obscure the HP bar by making it one big graphic rather than the like individual pellets, giving those numbers is a massive like help because there was a lot of obscurity with like the damage pellets and making it a bit harder to understand how much boss weapons you actually had versus
what a death from Tempest and the Colonel fight.
Yeah, that is the one downside of having that quote unquote zero privilege.
He doesn't get a defense upgrade. So he does a lot of
Yeah,
damage.
he's definitely the expert character of the game. Like STC is incredibly strong, but you really have to be on your A game playing zero, or else you can get shredded pretty easily. So I think both characters have their own merit, regardless of what like people tend to say. They're both.
I
cool.
think Stahl's going for a quick kill here. Hold on.
I think so. Yeah. Oh, we only got one hit. Unfortunate. Yeah. So when he goes above screen, his iframes don't spawn. So if he's in the right spot, your Nova Strike can just nerf his entire HP bar. You need to make sure to do it before he gets to that half point here, where he stays in the screen permanently. So it's one of those things you got to do early. For a lot of like world record runners, that's pretty much a dead run, unfortunately. But we're not doing that today, thankfully.
Yeah, the timing is really strict. You have to hit him just before he vanishes in the ceiling, and then you have to Nova Strike. That way his iframes bug. And you also have to hope that he's in prime position to get hit multiple times.
Dependent.
Yeah, because the Nova Strike has to keep connecting on him. That's the thing. So if he's not in a good position, you only hit him once, or not hit him at all, with the Nova Strike.
It feels super good casually to hit it, though. Like, even if you only do it once, that's like a really feel-good moment, for sure. Luckily, a lot of these boss fights will be sped up, not only having their weakness, but also having the stock charge, so we can do just a lot of damage super quick. Because we can do those fully charged, like, I think 3-ish damage for a charge shot. It depends. Like, each and every boss has different damage thresholds.
Does Stahl have did Stahl take enough damage to refill Nova Strike? I don't think he did.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. That's the other weird thing, too. So, the Nova Strike is actually recharged by taking damage. It's like X2's Giga Crush, or the Super Buster upgrade, Hyper C. As you take damage, it refills. Fortunately, the damage to like refill ratio in X4 is a lot less awful. Because like X2 and X3, you have to basically die to refill your super attack.
Oh, you did?
Nice!
That's good.
GG.
So...
There's a lot of like quick kills or quick kills in this game. Some of them, unfortunately, are like RNG dependent. That right there, as long as you wait for the right pattern, you can either one-shot or chew through almost all of Owl's HP. X does have some tricky stuff.
You hit him with his weakness?
What am I fighting for?
Oh, yeah, we did gloss over that. We actually have to fight Iris with Zero, so he gets a different mini-boss here. Both characters do have to fight Colonel, though. But that's the last.
Iris and Double are the only character-dependent bosses. X fights Double, Zero fights Iris. You see them in the story, yada yada yada.
Well, yeah. Outside of like the toolkit, how you play the game, like those are the differences. And then a few things like not having to fight Colonel. That's a very nice privilege, because then, like we said, you have to quick kill Colonel, or it's just like, yay, my run's dead. Fortunately, like most of these like runs dead things literally are just like world record thing. For the most part, you have a lot of time to save in this game if you're playing it semi-seriously. Almost.
My fate is sealed. I have no choice.
So we can SDC Colonel here, but it depends on if he gives us the fists.
General.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll be able to show that off. Ooh.
Hopefully. Oh,
well.
Yep. Now let's see if Tempest pulls through to get that. Oh no! Oh! Tempest, no!
Come on!
Barreling hard.
I missed it.
I'm sorry, commentator curse. This is actually very difficult because of the rings here knocking you back, and then the flames also doing damage. It's really rough.
It's really hard.
Yeah. And you kind of just get brutalized the whole time anyway. Colonel's a rough one.
General.
Oh, General, yeah, excuse me. General, Colonel, General. That's it. They're both in the military.
Damn it!
Yeah, this is the true RNG, where he just
General,
and then the fist to rub it in. Oh, that's rude. That's just rude.
Generally, it's really funny with Zero because should you do it, probably you don't have to SDC. You just have to use the first slash of him that for some reason will deal damage every frame against General only for whatever reason, which is really silly.
I know it's suddenly X3's saber that does like infinite damage per hit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, let's see.
Almost.
Redemption
that-
arc from Tempest. Come on.
Yeah, close
That was a
enough.
big damage.
It is nice that we get some iframes from the punch attack as well. Unfortunate. We should be able to finish him off from here. It'll take a while, but we'll be fine.
Don't body check him again.
Yeah, the big thing with Mega Man X is actually learning what deals damage and what doesn't, and like how much damage it actually deals. Because a lot of things will deal like 1 damage, and you're like, cool, and then you like get hit by a different attack from the same enemy, and it does 8, and you're like, why? That ate my health bar. What the heck?
Especially the case in X3.
Yeah.
It's especially the case in X3.
Like
You get hit by
Go ahead.
you get hit by the enemy laser attack that deals 3 damage. You touch their body, deals 10.
Yeah. So the little drill tanks in Rhino, the missiles, the little lobbed things do 1. The drills do 2. The tank does 6, I think. Kaiser is Sigma. The missiles and the mines do 8. The missiles do 6, and Sigma does like 4 contact damage. It's so that entire game is a mishmash.
That would make sense.
It's so backwards. It's the hardest skill check, and I hate that it's a thing.
I still like X3 though. Let's see if Victory can pull off the quick kill on Spider. Hopefully.
Yeah, that would be a really cool catch up, honestly. The quick kills in.
I don't think Victory knows how to do it.
Oh yeah, because you have to like hit him with a weakness as he's going off screen, so it's a bit.
It's
more
the same as
convoluted.
Al then. Okay, I missed that part. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of that stuff is obtuse unless you specifically ask somebody. That's why these are all so annoying.
It happens, my guy.
Yeah. Hey man, you learned something today, so there you go.
I did. I gotta.
Well, they can't hit the runners, or can they?
Yeah.
I don't think they can.
I don't
I
know.
don't think so. No.
Oh.
Just a little bit of runner chit chat. But yeah, we've got the spider in the center here. Unfortunately, Zero. Well, actually, no. Zero has the
coming
spin
in Sigma?
slash.
Easy done. Zero could also do a quick kill, quote unquote, on Spider, but it's really hard.
Yeah.
You want to stall here already dealing with Sigma? You might have missed it, but his
the Grim Reaper.
His first phase, the Grim Reaper phase,
not happening.
can be dealt really easily with just he can only be damaged with fire. So even Buster only runs, you have to compromise and use fire here for Reaper Sigma because he only takes damage from fire. But for some reason with X, if you use charge fire, he doesn't have the iframes, and you can just use it twice and kill him.
That's such,
very quick.
like,
It's so funny.
The end boss only being weak to X thing is such a, like, in terms of a Buster only, it's such a bad design. I understand why they do it, but I really wish that was something they just had never implemented in the games. Because it's,
I mean, you can't not be here without having the weapon, so, you know.
Oh, yeah.
The worst thing in the world.
It's obvious that, like, the stages are designed from that perspective, right? The main gripe I have with it is that, like, if you die without the weapon, at least in the original games, you didn't get your weapon energy back, so... Yeah, like, final bosses that were...
Oh, bad RNG for that RNG and from Gunner Sigma. What you want to happen there with the Gunner Sigma and Stahl's run is you want him to stay in there, firing lasers, and then you can keep ramming into him with Soul Body and reset your hover. And if done correctly, you can one cycle him.
Very expert hover resetting, though. That's
very
tricky, honestly.
For some reason, if you just get hit if you air dash, you can't air dash again, right? But if you get hit after air dashing, you can air dash again.
Nice.
Same applies with the hover. It's really, really silly.
Getting chewed on there was a really good play to speed that last bit up. You have to kill both halves, unfortunately. It's not like one unified HP bar. You have to kill both.
Yeah.
So the fight's a little bit more convoluted. At times coming up
very good from
soon.
Stahl. Very clean run, I would say.
Once
Very few
we
mistakes.
land on this upper platform, it's time for Stahl. There we go.
I'm for Stahl.
For Stahl. There we go.
I'm for Stahl.
Nice. Sub 50. Pretty solid in a marathon setting. That is for sure. It is not the easiest thing in the world to get a
GG Stahl.
super good time with this.
GG.
And GG's on Stahl. Let's see who goes here. I think.
See if Tempest can get a redemption on Stingray. Looks like Stingray's said no, unfortunately.
I really haven't been paying attention. I was looking at Stahl's run. I think Tempest is in the lead. Yeah.
I don't know. I did get the quick kill on Owl, so we'll see. I'll take that at least.
Yeah. Yeah, some of the bosses have funky iframes. Literally every Mega Man X game, one of the bosses has either a glitchy iframe or son of a... Yeah, this is the worst RNG you could ever see from Stingray. This is impressively bad, actually. And the problem is if you push him too far, he starts liking to do that like vertical dive, which is yay, great. Now I can't do anything. Neat, cool boss. Hey, Victory got the good RNG for 0. Thanks, buddy. Pal o' mine.
Also, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the water is green. That's some Mountain Dew water apparently now in the rematch.
Yeah, the
Sorry? Okay. I don't know. I think the audio's already changed.
It's all good.
So I think Tempestmask is on stream now. Audio.
Oh,
Yeah.
switch over to Tempest. Yeah, yeah, you should do that in a race. Yeah, change the audio to somebody that's still playing. Oh, that is unfortunate.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, the like I said, 0 is expert mode. That saber does do a lot of damage, but it do be quite a stubby shillelagh. It is it does not reach very far. And if you and if you get out of range, it's kind of over for you, unfortunately.
0, unlike X, he doesn't get a defense upgrade, so he's taking the full damage from the attacks.
Some any percent nonsense, yeah. Yeah, because I think even with the any percent route, I still was like, we should just do like magma later and get the armor, because like the armor reducing your damage is just so nice, plus the Nova Strike for the skip. All right, that looked very, very screwy because he was dragging you against that upper platform.
Eva's struggling with Owl. There you go.
Ideally, you can hit Owl with like multiple of those projectiles to get multiple hits in. But as you can tell, Owl kind of just does what Owl wants to, so it's kind of hard to get a optimal position. It's just straight RNG, unfortunately.
I think the actual strat, the optimal strat with 0 against Owl is you try to hit him with the third flash of the on the combo, because for whatever reason that one against Owl doesn't trigger his iframes. This game's bosses' iframes are just completely broken.
Yeah,
some bosses have good. They don't work sometimes. They don't work like all the times. They work with specific attacks. Sometimes they don't.
every one of the games has it. Like X3, I know for certain is a really good example. Like Seahorse, if you hit him with the ice, there'll just be a independent number of frames depending on how high you hit him with the ice spike, of how long he's vulnerable. So if you hit him at the peak, it's 15 frames. If you hit him at the lowest, I think it's like 8. And with Catfish or Crawfish, if you hit him with the Triad Thunder, the entire time he's flashing, he becomes vulnerable. So if you use the charged slam attack from Triad Thunder, you can one-shot him. There's also another funny one, actually, that I found from task notes was Hornet. If you fully charge with the gravity and drop Hornet on the ground, he actually has fake iframes until the first hit. So what we do is we drop him on the ground with gravity, hit him with the Ice Fang, then switch back and use the uncharged gravity, which helps us squeak out an extra 2 damage, so it speeds everything up by a full cycle. It's actually these games have so many silly corner cases. I love the X series dearly just because of silly stuff like that. It's so much fun. It can be difficult, but
Victory already on Sigma there. And Zero's and Tempest with Zero still has 1 boss rematch left.
Unfortunately, like the big thing is Sigma's much harder with Zero. That's the big catch. X has a much more easy fight depending on how you want to take Sigma, especially with the like floating boots rather than having to double jump.
The first phase of Sigma is completely skill based. There's no. It's one of the few times that there is no RNG.
Yeah.
So long as you don't fumble your movement and get lost and everything, you should be golden.
I mean, honestly, it's super easy to get lost in Sigma fights because Sigma's by far the most difficult thing in every X game. It just depends on how big the margin is.
At least for the first half of Sigma in X4 is, in my opinion at least. But then again, I have played this game for thousands of hours, possibly. I'm possibly biased.
It does get a little bit hard to actually like gauge your skill. Fortunately for me, I was teaching somebody the bare basics of X3 Hundo recently, and it definitely put in perspective what's like reasonable and what's not. I'm like, oh, that is actually hard to do. Huh, didn't realize that. But this Sigma is just brutal as X. Or as Zero.
On Victory, let's go. I don't think he didn't capitalize on that. He didn't know the strat, apparently.
Yeah, there is a like early learning phase where you learn the game kind of like this. You just learn how to survive, and then you can decide to up it from there or not. Mega Man X, fortunately, has like a lot of different like points where you can increase your skill expression. But some of them have some very brutal things where you tend to want to play it safe. Like most of the Sigmas, a lot of runners or a lot of newer runners choose to like not play it too fast and loose because the dying to Sigmas are just, it's always a massive time loss if you don't take care of it proper, or don't respect Sigma enough.
No lives.
Yeah. No lives. The fortunate thing is they give you a huge drop before this, so it fixes the problem of like not having good weapon energy or not having good HP. A lot of the other Sigmas are just like, oh, okay, we'll put random enemies in the room, farm. All right, got a decent amount of HP back at least, and we almost got ground Sigma done. That's going to be the major source of damage because
at least I'm pretty sure that in the case for X4 at least, if you game over the Sigma, you still come back at the second half of the boss rush?
Yeah.
I really don't remember now.
The one thing I will say is like the Sigmas have their own stages. So even though they're brutally difficult compared to everything else, almost unilaterally every game starts you back at Sigma in that short stage. So you don't like get sent back to the boss rush. At least I'm fairly certain. Unless you game over in the boss rush, which is very possible for a newer player. These boss rushes are pretty brutal too. Especially if you have the nasty habit like I did of, using your buster instead of the boss weapons. So you made everything exponentially more difficult than you needed to. Like, hold on, I'm gonna need to save these for later. Give myself elixir syndrome.
I wish I had that RNG that Victor is having. Dang. That's what I meant
So-
when it said that you want him to stay there. Oh, but there you go, GG.
Nice victory. Looks like he's gonna come out ahead. Unfortunately, like Sigma's seen a lot, or not Sigma, Tempest has seen a lot of bad RNG on the bosses to where Zero couldn't really capitalize on his ability to drain HP pools, as we saw on like
Time of victory.
Stingray twice. Yep. Oh yeah, that.
underestimated.
Oh,
Whoa.
did we switch back over? Because Tempest is there. We go. Tempest still got a little bit left.
Okay. And Tempest also like had a lot of death, unfortunately.
Yeah, I thought it would be novel to show off both categories and unintentionally like talk Tempest into it, but I hope the viewers got a nice showcase because it is interesting to see the complete difference between the two characters. Like you do have to do 90% of the same, 95% of the same exact game, but the way that you have to play is completely different.
Yeah, I want to say that if we like discount the deaths that Tempest had, I think it would have come out like
It would have been pretty even, I think.
He might have finished.
Hell yeah. We're in it to win it.
Yeah, GG's, brother.
either first place. I would say if
And
Tempest didn't die,
I mean, Tempest is in first place for Zero, so that counts for something, right?
Not sure if everybody can hear us real
I
quick.
won anyway!
I can't
Yeah, the
believe
only
you
Zero
bullied
runner.
me into this one,
I win
Sid.
by default.
I'm sorry. I forgot how
Oh my
brutal
God.
Zero actually is.
Oh, don't worry about it. I accidentally skipped the cutscene. Oh well.
Oops.
No.
Iris! Oh well.
All right.
I don't know if
GG.
chat can hear us right now before we go into our mission. Just in case you can hear me, thank you to
It's on your stream, so if you unmute everybody, you should be able to.
should be.
Everybody should be heard.
Just thanks to Derpathon
Oh, okay,
and the
cool.
mods crew for having me for not only one but two races. And honestly, I love X4. I really do. As nice as it would have been to play as X, I honestly think getting to do Zero is something I've been meaning to do, and I do want to give a quick shout out to the Rixer for the currently world record holder of 100%. Don't know about any percent, but still, Ricky was shredding it, and I still remember watching the grind. It's kind of what inspired me to finally make the switch. But I'll still be playing X. Don't get me wrong. Still, this is a fun time. Very happy to be part of this community. Very, very, very. Shout out to my man Victory for being practically the last minute addition to this race. Stahl, you killed it. Good job. And
Thanks.
You
GG.
killed us.
thank you everybody. Thank you. Comms and runners, if you want to make a quick final word.
Oh yeah, thanks for inviting me last minute. This has been a blast. I'll be back anytime you want me to, Tempest.
Oh, I'd appreciate that, Sid. You rock.
This was a great showcase. Both X8 and this were extremely fun to watch, and I hope the audience enjoyed it as much as I did.
yeah, thank you for having me too. Also a last minute call here from Tempest.
I can always rely on you.
This
Colin.
guy always
Yeah,
just comes in last minute,
I would have told you earlier
Holds me a
on
gun.
Wednesday.
holds me at gunpoint.
I would have told you
that's
on
funny.
Wednesday.
It's the same reason I'm here. He was like, hey, you want to come in? You want to do a race? I said, sure, yeah, I'll come in. I'll hop in. Anything for Tempest. But, so thank you, Tempest, for inviting me. Thank you to Ahmad and crew for having me. GG's to you too, Stahl, Tempest. And thank you, Comms. You guys killed it. You guys were very engaging. I love it. And I'm looking forward to more of it.
Stahl?
I guess nothing much more to add to this. GG's, guys. Tempest, respect for switching to Zero for the showcase. GG
Oh, yeah,
comms.
mad respect.
I will keep it short because you guys will see me on Sunday again. So yeah, I hope everybody enjoys the rest of the first day of Derpathon 2.
Are you
And,
ready
yeah,
for round
have a wonderful night.
2? All right, guys. Ciao, amici. We'll see you all next time.
Later.